Okay, this is going to be the tutorial on how to use mask layers in Photoshop. And what mask layers does is it allows you to cut parts of images to almost create a whole new image. This is pretty much the method we're going to be using to create our movie posters. So to begin with your pretty much creating your movie poster, you want to click on Photoshop. Photoshop's down here. It's the one that says PS, and that's blue. And once you click on it, this the menu should pop up. Then you want to click on File and New, and you're gonna create a new file for your movie poster. So you set your presets to photo and change the size to portrait 5x7, and you can retile this your movie poster. So that's all mine's Mr. One movie poster, and then click OK. And what should happen is it should have a tall long side of the paper you're going to work on. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to bring in your images to create your new one. So real important, make sure to follow your sketches on what you're doing, because it's kind of hard to come up with something on the fly with the images that you have. So I'm just going to click on my folder, find my images. I'm going to show you how to do layer mask for both of these images. You click and drag this image, and real important, make sure it's a high resolution image, because if it's a low res, it's going to look very pixelated. Click and drag that onto your Photoshop. And once you add it to Photoshop, it's going to create a whole new layer for that image alone, and it's going to allow you to resize the image. Okay, real important, to resize your image, make sure to click and drag and hold shift the corner to create your image. Okay, now if you don't hold shift, it's going to stretch and skew your image in weird ways, and you do not want that to happen because it's going to look weird. So real important, hold shift, click and drag your image, and resize it the way you want. So I'm actually going to put Buzz Lightyear down here on the bottom. I'm going to double click, and once I double click, then my image is all set. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do is, after that, you're going to I'm actually going to rename this. So you can rename this sub as Lightyear, so I know who it is. And once you're done with that, then you're going to go to Layer, Layer Mask, and Reveal All. Alright, and if you go to your Layers window, for some reason if you don't have your Layers window, you can go to Windows, Layers. You're going to have a background layer and then the layers for your first image. Now when you click on the layer that says Buzz Lightyear, there's going to be two different windows you can click on. The regular window where your image is, this is actually where you can edit your image, but we're not messing around with that. So if you end up having to mess around with the image like this, you want to click cancel, because you don't want to mess around with the original image, because if you mess around with this layer, then you can't undo any of the mistakes you make. So you want to click on the layer masks, and when you click on the layer mask, make sure you're using the brush tool. So this is the brush tool. If it's not showing up, you just want to click and hold the mouse, set to the brush tool, change the size of your brush. So you want something that's small but big enough, and you want to make sure it's with the fuzzy edge, and change the opacity to 100. I'm going to show you tricks later on how to mess around with the opacities later. And set your brushes to, or the color, so you want to click the color and set this to black. Make sure it's all the way down the bottom corner black, and then your other color should be white. Alright, but if I set it to a color, it's going to set it to black and white, because that's how these mask layer works. Is it works as like a gradient of like white to gray to black. And okay, once you color with the brush the black, it's going to actually erase your image. Okay, so what you want to do with your image is you want to erase the entire background, and you just want to leave Buzz Lightyear in the picture. Okay, so you want to take your time and erase this background. Now, it's going to be a little hard for me to see the background in this picture, so I'm actually going to click on my background here, and I'm going to use the paint bucket. So this is the paint bucket. If it's not showing up, just click and drag paint bucket, and you're going to color your background black. As you notice, these layers, they work very similar to how we work layers in Illustrator, where your bottom layers are, in the back of the picture, and then the top layer is always going to be in the front. So I made the background black, and real important, make sure to click back on that white box, and now I'm going to go back to erasing my background. And now, since Buzz Lightyear is white, it's a little easier for me to erase this background. So if you have like a real dark character, it might be more beneficial to change your background to white. Alright, so you're just going to color in the background, or color the background out, or erase it. Now, in some cases, I went over a little too much on the erasing. And the zoom in is the same thing as Illustrator. Command plus zooms in, Command minus zooms out. But if you change it to white, if you hit that flipper on the color palette, then the white's going to bring back your picture. Alright, but you may need to resize your brushes on some of these real small corners. Oops. And you just want to take your time and erase the character out. Alright, a big part of your grade is going to be the craftsmanship of how well you're erasing it, because you want to make sure these movie posters look neat and clean. Alright, also if you want to do like a real quick way of erasing the background, you can just set the background color to black, and you can click on this polygon lasso tool. If that's not showing up, just click and drag until you get to the polygon lasso tool, and set your feather to 2 and hit enter. And this is another way you can erase your background. In some ways this could be a little quicker, but if you just click around and create boxes on areas you need to erase and double click then and you hit delete, that's going to be a real quick way to erase it. But the only thing is, though, you still need to clean up these edges as you're working. So like right here, I need to clean this up a little more. Gotta flip it around and clean it up. I'm using the laptop touchpad, so this is a little harder for me. But this is actually an easy, quick way of erasing the background instead of using the brush. Yeah, just create boxes, and these boxes should be. Oops, I made it too big. These boxes will help to erase your background. Now I'm doing this real quick, but I mean you pretty much get the idea with what I'm doing here. So this helps out. Double click. This is gonna help out to flip it around. So flip it around, make sure it's on the black background, and delete. That's gonna erase it. Now it'll sometimes create lines like this because just because I set the feather up, but again, this is a quicker way of erasing those big areas if the mouse takes too, or if the paintbrush takes too long. But just go around and just delete the background. Alright, so you're just going to delete the background. I keep doing that again. Flip it around, delete, and it should not show up. Oh, just remember, undo and redo, it's the same thing as That's Illustrator, but the only difference is if you undo it twice, it's going to redo your last mistake. So that's one big thing that's different about Illustrator as opposed to Photoshop, is it only undo if you do Command T, it's going to only undo it one time. Alright, but that's pretty much how you're going to do the mask there. So you're going to erase the character out and then, add more images to make the image that you want.